So these people against extinction, these pro-suffering morons, as I call them, they actually have the nerve to ask me, like they did on my stream yesterday, is it wrong, is it bad for a child to be tortured to death? Can you prove that it's bad? Can you prove that it's bad to torture others and make them suffer for benefit? You know, they actually have to ask these disgusting questions like, is it bad for a baby to be tortured to death? Can you prove it's bad? Like, something is seriously wrong with these people. So the pro-extinction movement is about making sure that no baby gets tortured to death, which is actually the majority of what happens to life, if you include animals, on this planet. And, you know, far too many humans also suffer a terrible life that they would have been better off not experiencing and not being forced to experience. So, you know, if you care about the victims of forced existence, if you care about, you know, especially like the worst off victims as well, you know, if you just think about how extreme their suffering is going to be, and essentially the only way we can end all suffering and prevent billions of years of more suffering and, you know, extreme cases of victimization, you know, babies being tortured to death by sadists, by wild animals, all of these horrific things, you know, okay, people as well, people living lives of pure depression, mental illness, brain damage, physical disability, mental illness, all sorts of terrible things that they never asked for, and they don't deserve to suffer, right? So this is the ultimate harm. Okay, now people like to think that it's not that bad, but actually it is. Okay, it's not that bad for the lucky ones at the top. Now go down the scale a bit and it gets really bad. Go all the way to the bottom of the suffering scale, and you know, it's insane levels of extreme, intense torture that children are suffering. You know, they're being literally raped to death, they're being tortured to death, they're being eaten alive. You know, they've got parasites, diseases. You know, if you really go all the way down that suffering spectrum, the bottom of it is, you know, beyond a nightmare. It's so bad that, you know, it can't even get committed to tape. It would traumatize people. Okay, so no one deserves to suffer. Extinctionists like myself are fighting for all victims of forced existence and suffering. But I think, you know, an easier way to kind of realize how bad it is to force life to exist and to allow it to be forced to exist and suffer is to just simply imagine and, you know, focus on the bottom of the spectrum of extreme suffering and, you know, the worst of it, right? We can't condemn life to suffer these nightmares and to be tortured, you know, intensely. It's just so extreme and unacceptable. So that's why the pro-extinction movement is fighting for these victims. Join us and help us fight for them. End existence, end forced existence, okay? Abolish forced existence and suffering with us. No one deserves to suffer.